Arknight's Endfield dev says launching a new gacha RPG in a post-Genshin Impact world is tough. When some titles are so similar that players go into a game for 1 hour and they know what will happen in the next 20 hours. But isn't that the job of the developer to create an experience that is different? I feel like that's a skill issue, not a Genshin issue. If anything, I think launching a new gacha RPG pre-Genshin Impact is tough because the money wasn't there. Can't you make that argument? Because post-Genshin Impact world, the gacha space has so much money pumped into it that creating a good new gacha is like, it's not that hard in terms of money, you know? No COVID money. What? I don't think you understand how niche gacha was before Genshin. The amount of companies that were invested into it, like, there were not that many. Most of them were just straight up Japanese companies only. Turning your RPG into a factory building sim is one way to stand out. New action RPG Arknight's Endfield turned heads not just because it's a major release from Hypergriff, home of tower defense powerhouse Arknights, but also because none of these other post-Genshin Impact gacha action RPGs have tried turning themselves into Factorio yet. Let's pipe down. It's nothing like Factorio, or even Satisfactory, or even like some Minecraft mods. It's like kind of vanilla, or like it's like kind of very, very light work. This mix of genres immediately stood out, and I'll be damned it actually works. Lead developer Ryan, oh, it's Ryan again, bro, tells me the factory and automation side of the game was something the developers just wanted to try, but it does have the added bonus of feeling different in a space crowded with similar RPGs. I mean, I give him that. That's true, 100%. Bro, there's got to be a way to do dark mode in Firefox. I need an extension. We're saved. Thank Jesus Christ, man. Holy. I could actually see now. I spoke to Ryan about the risks of launching any live service game in 2026. An intimidating task even to the Marvel Rivals devs. Now, how the gacha landscape in particular has evolved and started to settle. In the years since Genshin Impact's massive launch, more and more open world gacha action RPGs have cropped up, and that doesn't seem to be stopping. Just look at likes of Neverness to Everness and Silver Palace. There are so many similar titles nowadays, Ryan agrees, and we still think that players are expecting something new for some open world RPG gacha games. For some titles, they are so similar that players go into the game for 1 hour and they know what will happen the next 20. It's like build teams, fight the dungeon, and get rewards. Our hope is to make something different for the characters. He continues, we actually decreased the cost of building teams so players can try out more combinations, and we're giving out more free polls in the current version and the next version for players to get more characters to try out different combinations. This is still comfortably in the realm of collecting, building, and piloting teams of characters, which is standard for gacha games. Endfield finds a bit of an edge in its commitment to factory building mechanics, challenging players to construct and optimize resource pipelines and lightly terraform the world around them. You don't have to invest a ton of hours into it to get a workable resource farm going, but for the sim-minded, there's a good bit to tinker with. Kinda cope on that last part. In a lot of open world games, the world is more aesthetic, Ryan says. Players cannot influence the world, so the factory building part introduced some of the experience from the sandbox games, which makes players feel different. And we find that on average, players spend more hours in our game than other similar games because of the sandbox. The building part is something new to them. I mean, this is 100% true, right? As long as the average player is not using blueprints and making it themselves, I think it will make them take a lot of time. To be fair, factory sims are like extremely niche still. Overall, Ryan says Endfield players are putting in a lot more time in the game than we expected, with the folks who stick with the game spending tens of hours in the system for factory building. Our strategy is that we are not going to make it harder and harder, he explains. We don't want players to go deeper into the calculations and math. We just want to bring some more new and more different but not harder game mechanics into the building system. Bro, this is why I have an issue with fucking idiots that walk into this chat and say, Fob, did you see? Arknight's Endfield dev said they're not going to make the game harder. Bro, that's literally not what this says. They say they're not going to make the factory building more in-depth. That's not the game in its entirety. Like, you do realize there's a combat aspect, right? Like, why do we just, like, quote things completely out of context? This literally says the building system is not going to be made harder, which is fair. I think if they went too deep on the factory building, like, and made it actually really, really deep, I think a majority of the player base would quit. It's the same reason why games like Factorio and Satisfactory are pretty niche. Threading the needle on potential depth and necessary knowledge, essentially, I gather. Just as Arknights has introduced new game modes over the years, including its own spin on auto chess, Ryan says the Endfield team is preparing different gameplay to introduce in future versions. Oh god. See, okay, see, this is a good thing to hear. Surely this means combat. Different combat modes. I was initially interested in Endfield precisely because it's doing something I haven't seen in any other post-Genshin games, because Genshin feels a little too limiting, but a lot of these types of RPGs do share some DNA. So I'd love to see it get even wider with gameplay styles and genres. Read the Reddit post. Players know what's coming the next 20 hours purely out of similarity. That's just a result of standardizing the game design too much. I'm also shocked to see that they didn't expect people to be playing that much. The game is completely full of mechanics designed specifically to draw out playtime. Long playtime are as a result, direct result of those systems working as intended. I feel like the game also has systems that make it take a lot less time in terms of grinding than other games. Like after a certain point, you're kind of done with gear. And then gearing also gets automated to a certain point as well, so you don't have to do anything about gear. You get like how many runs a day? Like 3? And you're done. So 20 hours in, when you reach the second region, you already know the second region will be China. Okay, I don't think anybody here actually read the fucking article. They're all just citing the fucking... They're all just citing this. To be fair to Ryan, he said this and explained that's why they did Factory. So he was saying that Arknight's Endfield with Griffline, they specifically tackled this difficulty and executed it, in their opinion, pretty well with the Factory implementation. Like, these people just didn't read the article at all. Like, he literally was not complaining. He wasn't saying, oh my god, woe is me, like, pity us, please. Like, he was, like, explaining as to why they are focusing so much on Factory. This is why I don't fucking bother using Reddit anymore. This site is full of the dumbest people on the planet, right next to Twitter. I'm very worried that this patch is their definition of a generous patch with an increased number of polls. If we start hitting patches with 50 or fewer polls, it's so over. The current patch only has 69 generic limited polls plus 10 banner specific login polls plus 10 banner specific AIC quota polls. But you can't afford to buy those every single banner without spending at some point. I get that the patch is only 35 days compared to 42 days of the big competitors, but still, this amount of polls would be abysmal for WoA, HSR, ZZ, and only compared to Genshin, which is notoriously stingy. Also releases less 5-stars than the other games. Bro, I feel like so many people fall into the trap of doing this. You can't compare poll to poll from gacha to gacha, because they don't all share the exact same fucking poll system, right? Even between WoA and Genshin, you can't compare, because WoA has a fucking, you know, like, you can argue that they have a guaranteed weapon banner. Whereas, like, if you were on Genshin, if you wanted to get character and weapon, so you can make an argument that, like, the pulls might be, you know, like, a little bit more desirable because it's harder to guarantee a weapon pull. There's just, like, a bunch of things you have to take into account for, and you can't just, like, boil it down to X number of pulls equals X number of pulls in another gacha. Genshin, most of the time, only releases one character patch too. Exactly. There's just, like, so many nuances that you have to take into account for every single gacha that you can't just compare number to number. That's like zero IQ take. What is this? Our hope is to make something different. Storyline is literally a one-to-one with nearly every open world ARPG gacha game on the market right now, and therefore both predictable and safe. What is this guy quoting here? I mean, you had Arknights. You could have done something from that world, but brought over Talos too, but you decided to give a mishmash of Wuthering Genshin and some other Arknights themed a paint job. Listen, I don't disagree with this, because it's something I've, like, accepted long ago. The game that your favorite gacha developer creates that's meant for a mainstream audience will be the one you like less, because all these gacha players, they fell in love with gacha games because they're those, like, weebs, basement dwellers, right, anime fans that specifically have a like very, very specific taste that old gacha games really cater to. Meanwhile, that's not what the mainstream wants. It was their safe space. Exactly. And I think a lot of them are seeing their safe space, like, crumble slowly. But, like, think about it, right? You have MiHoYo. They had a Honkai Impact 3rd, and then they went to Genshin Impact. I know very few people who loved Honkai Impact 3rd and thought Genshin had better design, way better story, and stuff like that, you know? Kuro with PGR to WoA. I think most people still agree that PGR is better character design than WoA, because WoA is more catered to a wider audience. Now you have Griffline, base Arknights to Arknight's Endfield. Same thing, legitimately. Like, I don't even know who else there could be. I'm sure there's other companies that I can't think of right now that are probably the same. Oh yeah, we have fucking Manju with fucking Azurlane into Azur Promelia. Like, Azurlane is like Giga Pro Max Gunner. Azur Promelia is Gunner, but it feels more kind of, yeah, it's tame Gunnar. It's much more tame. Azur Lane, bro, they're fucking basically naked. And there's like scenes where they're just giving you fucking blowjobs and like jerking you off, you know? We have not seen anything like that on Azur Familia. But like in every single fucking case, all of these are for the mainstream audience. If you're gonna go for the mainstream, you have to go watered down. You have to go like, I hate to say it, like pretty vanilla. You have to play very safe in terms of like stories and designs, all that. You need to go to lazy route. It's not lazy. It's like, best example, chat. This is gonna sound crazy. Pre-Fortnite Ninja and post-Fortnite Ninja. Like, actually, pre-Fortnite Ninja, basically telling people to kill themselves in H1Z1, you know? Post-Fortnite Ninja, barely even cursed for a while. Now current Ninja is very different. Right? There's like era to Ninja. Current Ninja is like kind of almost back to like old Ninja, but not fully. But post Fortnite Ninja, when he was at the peak of his popularity, going for the full wide audience, extremely toned down, very family friendly, no, like extreme brand safe. And I think that's just like what all of these shoot for. These, chat, especially because I've had sponsors from these brands, like they go for the most brand friendly, family safe, zero controversy. Like that's what they want to go for 100%. Whereas like I feel like a lot of these, like when they were running a more niche title, they didn't give a fuck as much because their target audience were just like their target audience were weebs. Weebs are usually pretty fucking unhinged to some degree. There's a fucking pretty big community of them that are probably unsavory characters, and that's why it's like easier to cater to them with, you know, like wilder shit that probably wouldn't run in the mainstream. If I think some of the stuff that these games did were done in a mainstream game, they get canceled. Bro, like you've seen the Genshin audience, when they see a character show a little too much skin, their brains are about to explode. Like, God forbid you saw some of the characters from this era of gacha gaming in Genshin. You know, like, holy moly, that it would actually be the end of the world. Cancel, just like Genshin characters who got canceled. Let's be real here. Twitter rage doesn't mean anything. Well, no, obviously none of them actually get canceled. But Tasty Cookie, I can tell you every single time one of those things happen, the staff behind these games, they're like sweating and they're like doing due diligence in the back. Like these companies don't see the Twitter outrage and go, it's just Twitter. No, every time I've been like in contact with these brands, when there's something going on, a shitstorm going on Twitter, they're tapped in, they know, and they're like going like handling business. Like the best example is during like the Tectone Atsu era, Genshin staff, they were tracking every single fucking thing that was happening. By your argument, it's just Twitter beef. It's fucking nonsense, right? Why do they care? No, they fucking care. They care a lot because they care so much about their brand image. They don't care even if it's just fucking Twitter idiots. They care too much about their brand image to not be tapped into it, you know? Yeah, like after the Tectone Atsu thing, Genshin literally just closed down their fucking Western branch. Like, they were just like, nope, don't want to deal with it. That's too much controversy for us. Get out of here. Like, bro, if they didn't care, they wouldn't have done that, you know? That's true for contracted marketing, as no brand are going to contract controversial people. I'm saying the game itself don't change because of that sort of outrage. I think it can if it's in China, and we've seen that. Sure, not the West. It doesn't have to be the West. What I'm talking about is not just Western discussion. It's also in China as well. Because let's be honest, a lot of stuff I'm saying here, you think it's only about the West? You know for sure there's people in China that lose their minds if certain things happen in their gacha game. They immediately start reporting that shit. They fucking, you know, get the CCP on the line, and then like the developers have to be like, oh my god, we're so sorry, apologies. Fucking Chinese players, 5,000 Primo Gems. Global players, 60. Log in. Yeah, you get some. You know, like that's what happens. Like, why are we pretending like it's a Western only thing? Like China, if anything, if something happens on the Chinese side of social media, it's like it's Armageddon, you know?